Hey, Mixer Graham here from therecordingrevolution.com. And today let's talk about mixing vocals to get them to sound up front. That's language that I like to use when I want a vocal in most mixes to sound like it's at the very front of everything that's happening in the mix, that doesn't get lost no matter how dense or loud or exciting the mix is, where every word is audible, where it just sounds punchy and upfront. That's the best way I can describe it. There's a couple things you can do, but there's one main strategy that works so beautifully and so easily. And I want to show it to you in today's video so that you can have this little technique in your tool belt to help your vocals sit well in the mix. Here's a mix where I've basically taken off some processing on the lead vocal, and I want you to hear, even though there's some doubles on this lead vocal going into the hook, the vocal is a little buried by itself. Take a listen.
Every word running past my tongue. Give up the air running through my lungs.
Okay, it sounds nice, but take a listen to the vocal with some processing here.
Without you, I give it all up tonight to hold you. Give up the red running through my blood. Every word running past my tongue. Give up the air running through my lungs to make up for all the things I've done.
Okay. More present, more alive, more in your face. Now, also, if you are a smart person, it's more volume. It's louder. So let me point out why what we're going to do here is not just turning up the volume of your lead vocal. Yes, you want your lead vocal to be at a good volume. It's the first step to getting a good mix is to get the volume right. If you can't hear something, no processing will save it. Sometimes you just need to turn up a track, and that's certainly true with vocals. But here is the problem with most vocals. They are a dynamic instrument, meaning they're all over the place in volume. So a static volume position on a vocal is never going to cut it, ever. Unless the person doesn't sing anything but oohs or anything but ahs, doesn't have variance in their syllables, there will always be dynamics. So if you zoom in on this vocal track, I just want to show this to you. If you don't know what dynamics are, I want you to understand how this is happening here. I'm going to zoom up the waveform a little bit so you can just see. You can see that this phrase is one volume, this syllable is one volume, and then look at this. These first three little syllables or sections are three distinct volumes. And it's a very short period of time. It's just this little section here. It's the I'm, the S for so, and then here's the O. You can see how louder the O is than the I'm. Opening up to vowels alone will change the volume of a track. And you can see the variance from here even, this loud section to this one. Here we go. Out you, without you. The U is so much quieter. This is the problem with vocals. This is why people struggle to get vocals to sound good, is they don't really understand what they're dealing with the dynamics. And so they just set the volume, maybe had some EQ, maybe even try to compress it a little bit, and they just wonder why the vocal sounds good sometimes in the song, and other times it sounds buried. Well, here's the simple truth. To get the vocal to sound up front the way we're used to hearing it on most modern records, and by modern I mean the last 30, 40 years, you need compression and you need a healthy dose of it. And what I want to show you is a better way to use vocal compression instead of going really heavy-handed with one compressor. Take a listen to the vocal track by itself. Let's take off the delays and all the processing. Here's the lead vocal.
I'm so lost without you. I give it all up tonight to hold you. I give up the red running through my blood.
All right. What I've done here is two plugins. One is a channel strip. Here's the Waves SSL. And it's doing a little bit of EQ. Okay. High pass filter. scooping out some 300, and then a little slight shelf boost at 8K, 1.5 dB. Very, very light EQ. Cleans it up for sure. But what I want you to do is here, I'll just bypass the compression. I want you to hear what happens when I turn the compressor on.
I'm so lost without you.
Compression.
I'm so lost without you.
Okay. A little bit more volume, apparent volume, but the peaks are not that louder. Okay. The peaks are getting compressed. So actually the loud parts are getting softer. And what we're using the compressor to do is bring up the quiet parts. Hear it again without.
I'm so lost without you.
With.
I'm so lost without you.
Now words like the you at the end is just as loud as without. Or the the I'm is almost as loud as the so. We've reined in the performance so they're not quite as drastic. And what you hear, the result of what you hear is you hear more of the vocal sounding up front. And I'm doing just 3 to 6 dB of gain reduction. I'm using a real gentle ratio, 2-to-1. And I'm just dialing in the threshold until I see 3 to 6 dB of gain reduction. That is a gentle amount of compression. It's very musical, but it's helping, and I'm getting some makeup gain to make the overall average volume of this vocal louder while actually keeping the peaks back to where they were. Now, the secret is to follow that up one more time with one more compressor. It can be the same compressor. It can be a different compressor. I like the sound of this LA2A from Waves when it does on vocals, so I chose this one. But the same thing here is you want gentle 3 to 6 dB compression on the follow-up compressor. So now we're taking a compressed vocal, okay, with the SSL. It's slightly compressed, and we're following that compressed signal up with now another compressor to compress it even more. So if there's even more variance in the peaks, we're going to turn those remaining peaks down 3 to 6 dB and bring up the average volume of the remaining stuff so that now it's even more compressed in a good way. So here it is without the compression.
I'm so lost without you.
With the second compressor.
I'm so lost without you.
Okay? Much, much better. So what I'm going to do so you can hear this more drastically is I'm going to just press play and take away both compressors and EQ, okay? Just going to take them away, but take away both, and you're going to hear the vocal. Yeah, the EQ, the tone will change slightly, so it'll sound a little less open in terms of tone. But what I want you to notice is the vocal disappearing volume-wise and sounding more buried, even in solo. Here we go.
I'm so lost without you. I give it all up tonight to hold you. I give up the red running through my blood. Every word running past my tongue. Give up the air running through my lungs. To make up for all the things I've done. Just give me a sign to be on the red eye. First fly headed right back to you. 'Cause you're my ticket home. Yeah.
Hear how it does stuff at the very end where he's holding home. It brings up some of that stuff really nicely. This is what you want to hear. You want to hear every element of the vocal. So that's why we're using compression, because vocals by themselves will never naturally sound the way you want them to sound in a mix. You're going to lose so much of that, especially in the mix, right? Bring it back into the way the audience will hear this. Now I'll take away the compression and see what happens to the vocal.
I'm so lost without you. I give it all up tonight to hold you. Give up the red running through my blood. Every word running past my tongue. Give up the air running through my lungs. To make up for all the things I've done. Just give me a sign to be on the red eye. First fly headed right back to you. 'Cause you're my ticket home.
You basically lose that whole final section.
'Cause you're my ticket home.
The compression really helps.
'Cause you're my ticket home.
That's it, my friends. I want you to get into my head as to how I'm using compression when I mix vocals. This is what I'm thinking about. I really want that vocal to sit up front. And the only way I can do that is through compression. And instead of having one compressor be very heavy, doing 10, 12 dB of compression, although that is a perfectly legitimate way to work, I find I get more musical and better results by having two compressors doing a little bit less heavy lifting, 3 to 6 dB of compression each on the vocal, to then get every syllable, every vowel, every part of the vocal to sound more upfront. It's not the way singers naturally sound in real life, but it's the way we are used to hearing singers sound on records. So that's the secret. That's how you get upfront vocal sound. Leave me a comment below the video. Let me know if you already do this kind of stacked compression technique. If you don't, let me know how you like to compress vocals. What way have you found that's helping you get that upfront vocal sound? Because again, there's a million ways to do this. Leave your comment below, share it with the community so we can all learn from each other. If you like the video, subscribe. And also, if you like this kind of training, I have an entire video series called The Smart Start to Mixing that I want to send you absolutely free. It'll help you optimize your DAW and get actually better sounds out of your current lineup of plugins. Actually, you might be underutilizing your current lineup of plugins. And so the way you set up your mix, the first 30 to 60 minutes of your mix, is so critical to getting the mix that you want in your DAW, that no matter what DAW or plugins you have, if you're not doing this, you're not going to get the best sound possible. So I show you all of this in a series called The Smart Start to Mixing, and it's absolutely free, but I only give it to my email subscribers. So join the list, click the button here below the video, and sign up, and I'll send that to you absolutely free. And it's really going to help you. It'll change the way you start your mixes, which you're going to love, trust me. That's it for today. Have a fantastic week. Make some great music, and most importantly, have fun. We'll talk to you soon.